Today is going to be a real crappy day. But it's important, so I'm going to have to deal with it. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. Well, I have to say, this was a wonderful week. I was off, so I didn't have any of that to deal with. But I also managed to get a lot of fun stuff done in here. Not as much as I wanted to, but things happen. On Monday, I went and I got a massage at my chiropractor's office. It was great. It felt great. She hit me in spots that I'm like, oh, that hurts so good. I was also sore from it for several days. I guess that means either I need to get work to stop trying to kill me, or I'm going to have to take money from my fabric budget to get massages more often. Yeah. Instead of spending time in here afterwards, I hung out with someone. He's an awesome guy, and we chilled and watched some Mrs. Brown's Boys. I think that show's available on BritBox here in the US. I'm not certain. And if you're outside the US, I really have no idea where you can watch things. There are clips on YouTube. I have bought the DVD since I can watch Region 2 DVDs and material. But if you do go research it, please don't be eating or drinking while watching, because you might have a little bit of problem with the sudden laughter. It's an awesome show, and it was awesome hanging out and everything. So it was a great day. On Tuesday, I lounged on the couch for most of the morning. It was just chilling, relaxing. The afternoon, I had a facial and a haircut scheduled. Those were great. I felt so pampered. It was just, let's get all of this taken care of. I think I ended up doing grocery shopping Tuesday evening because I had to make sure I had everything ready for, today. And yeah. On Wednesday, I got to spend the day in here. I connected to the Sewing with Stephen and Stephanie Zoom to get me motivated, and I did a lot of fun, and I worked on my Saturday sampler block. It was an adventure. It's a Lori Holt pattern. I think I talked about it before, about a month ago when I signed up for it. I love her stuff. I love how detailed it is. It's kind of almost the level of Artie's, but not quite. The first issue that I had was that my quilt shop decided to recolor it with newer fabrics. It's a 9-year-old pattern from 2014. So obviously we don't have the same prints that she did when she initially designed it. And I just assumed that they were just going to take her fabric line and take the similar colors and do it. And I just pulled out the first piece and I said, okay, let me cut the smallest number of pieces first, and then I'll go back to the other stuff. And I was like, I can't cut 2 3-inch pieces from a 2-inch square. Something's not right here. And it was that I was starting to do other cuts, and I finally found the piece of paper that said, we are recoloring this, and this is where it lines up to. When I figured that out, everything fit into place with cutting. So, yeah, I managed to get that, and then it got a little bit crazier. The instructions were a challenge. The first step told me to do a snowball on the corner of one rectangle, or on one corner of the rectangle. It didn't tell me which corner. It didn't say top right, bottom right, top left, bottom left. And I was like, okay, what do I do? So I finally pulled out the picture that they gave from Saturday Sampler. They also put on their website. And I said, I think this is what I'm working on. I'm not certain, but let's hope. And thankfully, I did guess right. While reading through the individual steps, it was a little almost ADHD. I felt like she was jumping around from one piece to a different piece in the same number. My brain would have worked better if it was just each individual line instead of, let's combine 3 or 4 things, which may or may not be exactly related in the same step. Again, it's a difference in instruction. I was able to get through it. It was just strange until I got to the thing where it told me to pull a fabric Z or fabric Z for anybody else that, understands that. And I'm like, the letters and the cutting don't go up that far. Thankfully, it was in a spot where I had a few enough pieces and I was able to figure out what was going on with that. Either way, 5 hours later, I got the block done. I felt accomplished and it looked awesome. So here it is in all its glory. I'm loving it. And the funny thing is, as I was starting to pack everything away, I found the diagram that said this is where all the pieces go. It would have helped in the beginning because I was like, I need this. I don't know where I was hiding. It wasn't my pieces of paper. Apparently, all the times that I was flipping through it, I could not find it, or I just was, in my face blind to it. I do feel like this sew cut press quilt, I think that's what it's called. The pattern is one of her early patterns because I have done some of her stuff that has been published by It's So Emma, and those are great. It's not a lot of words, there's a lot of diagrams. So again, if you buy this pattern, make sure you're not under any type of time crunch if you're doing this, and be ready to read a lot. There's a lot in here. It comes out gorgeous. I love it. There's just a lot of reading, and my brain doesn't like that, I guess. I finished that Zoom by working on trimming some of my socialites finishing triangles. Those, it's just like I said before, it's fun that I'm getting very close to being finished with that. It's just every step of the way, it feels a little bit closer. Wednesday evening, I got my long arm loaded and quilted the pumpkin blocks that I made with Stephanie on her channel a few weeks back. I figured it would be something really fun to do at Saturday Sampler, and since they're going to be gifts anyway, it'll be fun. I managed to get the binding done on Friday, so I'm kind of jumping ahead, but my pumpkin block, I got one of them done. I got to get the other 3 bindings done. I did a smaller binding than I'm accustomed to. I tried to do the 2¼ inch binding because it looks a little bit better on a smaller project. And it looks great, but it was a little bit of a challenge for me because I'm not accustomed to doing things like that. It's new. It's what's going to be happening every time you do something new. So I think as I'm doing more and more of my wall hangings, I'm going to see if I can get them more with the 2¼ binding, and then I'll do my standard 2½ with standard quilts. That's what I think I'm going to try to do. We'll see what happens as it gets closer and closer to doing any of those. On Thursday, I got up early just to go get my oil change done. It was at that point that I thought to myself, why don't I just do all my errands the same day or the same 2 days when I'm off for a week? Because, I had massage on Monday, facial on Tuesday. Stephen and Stephanie was Wednesday, but that's not an errand. I just wanted a full day with that. Thursday was an oil change. And then, Friday I had scheduled myself a pedicure. So yeah, there was a lot of me thinking, why didn't I just lump a couple of these together? But it's all behind me. At the oil change, I was kind of surprised because it only took 40 minutes. Usually I'm there like an hour and a half or a little bit longer, up to 2 hours. But 40 minutes, I'm not going to complain too much. After that, Thursday was a pretty lazy day because, we hung out again. We ended up getting wings for dinner. That was very good, very tasty, and we had an impromptu trip to Micro Center because, we love to geek out. I did find a couple Christmas gifts at Micro Center, which aren't electronical related, but they are going to be wonderful gifts. So I'm very excited about that. Friday morning, I woke up a little sore in the neck. It's that whole I slept wrong because I'm old thing. And because I did that, I can't move. So, yeah, I did get up and I went and got my pedicure done because I was just ready for that. I also picked up my Tulip Pink prints. I had dropped them off Tuesday to be framed. I forgot that I did that on Tuesday until just now. I got a text on Thursday saying they were ready. They look gorgeous. Now I just got to figure out where I am going to hang them. When I got home from running around doing all that, I came into here and I put the binding on the pumpkin. So I did that. And afterwards, I started on my sister's table runners. Well, technically, I started on table runner for me first, and then I worked on hers because I didn't realize that I had bought one for me. And, if I was smart, I would have just bought the 2 cuts of fabric and used the same instructions. But I now have a Halloween table runner. I do know that I said I was going to try to go live with that, but it didn't quite fit in with the schedule. Friday, I just want to make sure I got these done. I didn't want to spend all the extra time trying to figure out how I was going to do them, make sure that the pattern was written well for my brain, make sure I could follow it. But yeah, it was a weekday. It was undecided if I was going to make it or not. So sorry if you were expecting to see me live earlier this week. The pattern for the table runners is advertised as a 10-minute table runner. So obviously it took me about 45 minutes. I think a majority of the time is really the order of operations. I believe when it says 10-minute table runners, it assumes that you've already cut your fabric into the sizes that you need. It's not always exactly how it gets cut off on the bolt from your quilt shop because they are slightly skewed in some areas and it's not perfectly straight. So I spent the first little bit of time straightening out the edges, making sure everything was lined up. Then I probably spent 3 minutes at my sewing machine, feeding it through both directions. There's 2 straight seams that are, 40 inches long. So it's not like it's a lot of thought to do there, but I don't keep my machine at the rabbit. It's a little bit, it's more than halfway, but I don't like the feeling when it's at 100%. So I probably could have zip those 2 seams very quickly, but that's not how I roll. Then you have to press these, and it's a weird press because you have to make sure that it gets in there, but you don't want to press a fold or pleat in there. So just making sure that I had all my ironing in the right way, and then I had to flip them outside right. Yes, outside right, right side out. One of those words. And then try to get them lined up evenly on both sides so that everything looks great and perfect. And then after you do that, you have to almost like a Dresden the edges so that you can get your point, and then do a little bit of stitching down of the corners since that's the outside, and then a little bit of quilting just to make sure things kind of stay in place. It did go through, and I managed to get a couple done. This first one that I'm going to show is the extra one that I had bought for me. Yeah. So as you see over here is the Dresden. And if you look, you can kind of see this basically looks like the back of a Dresden if you've done them. And I just love how it essentially just finishes itself into that. So I have these pumpkins for me because I'm a little bit wacky. This is the one that my sister had picked for her Halloween. I love these fabrics together. The black goes very well with that Halloween print. And then I also have, this is her Thanksgiving. It might be general fall as well, but it looks very great for Thanksgiving. And then finally, winter, because I don't know what happened to Christmas. There's no Christmas stuff in here. Maybe she has just so much Christmas stuff that she can't have the room to do that. It was, great. I still have 7 more to do. And like I said, as long as I now know in my head the whole process, I might just spend a couple hours and square them off and put everything together almost like assembly line and stuff like that. On Saturday, it was Saturday Sampler. So I got up in the morning. I woke up actually an hour earlier than I intended. I just laid in bed trying to say, can I just sleep a little bit longer? My neck's a little sore. I don't really want to move. And by the time I realized, wait, I can get up an hour earlier and get to Saturday Sampler and get to my day an hour earlier, it was already too late for me to try to go an hour earlier. Did go to Saturday Sampler. I loved seeing all the show and tells there. I love doing my show and tells there. There's just always so much inspiration that you see. I came home and immediately came into here because my friend Stephen Bland of Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, he hosted his fall retreat, fall virtual retreat. There were 3 guest speakers and a great slideshow of quilts that were submitted by the participants of the stuff. There were some awesome prizes and a lot of fun chatter, so we got to know each other a little bit more. If you want to see the presentations that were done or even the slideshow of quilts, they are available on his channel, which is linked below. The rest of the virtual retreat is not available. It's a private retreat for any of those. So all of the fun stuff that we were talking about and joking and had a blast about, the only way to participate or get to know what was happening with that is to actually participate and sign up with him. It's a free event. He's going to probably have one again in the spring. So subscribe to his channel and look for that if you are interested in that. During the retreat, though, I worked on piecing the rows of my Socialites quilt together, Socialites 2. And I was putting them together. It was a long process, especially since, I was invested in these presentations as well because they were wonderful presentations. But I can tell you, at this point, I have all but the final row pieced. In fact, here are my rows. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but this is 6 rows, all pieced. It's all ready to be pressed. The final row, I need to cut 2 27-inch pieces in order to piece that together. And then I can say that I have all the rows together. And then I have to press all those seams in the right direction so they all nest, and then I can start piecing the last of these quilts together. I'm excited because this is now like the light at the end of the tunnel is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm kind of hoping it's not a train. So I'm just excited this is almost done. Today, though, I have to expend as little energy as possible. I kind of mentioned this morning or earlier in the video that today's a little bit of a crappy day, and it's because I have a colonoscopy scheduled tomorrow, which means I can't eat, and I get to start my prepping a little bit, and that's actually going to be before this video is published, not afterwards. So it's going to be a little bit unpleasant. So if you're seeing this video on Sunday night, just, keep me in thoughts and try to make sure that my stomach isn't growling too much. I will be spending it on my couch because, again, as little energy as possible. Riley is at daycare to keep me from having to, bring her out on a walk when I'm hungry. So yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of sitting on the couch, drinking some ginger ale, drinking some Gatorade, keeping myself hydrated. 5 o'clock, I get to start my prep. I might start a little bit earlier because he said I could start a little bit earlier. I know I got to be always within like 3 inches of the restroom after I start taking the prep. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day. And then I have to get up, before 5 a.m. again to do another dose of that. So yeah, everything's gonna be squeaky clean, hopefully, so that they can, you know, have that camera, get some beautiful footage of my innards, and make sure that everything is great. My friend Mike is taking me to my appointment, and I figure it's kind of like fair return because I took him a few years ago to his appointment, and he was a little gassy in my car, so I guess I can be a little gassy in his. The exciting part, though, is I can finally give him his housewarming gift that I wanted to give him about a year ago that I hadn't had a chance to give him. So, yeah, it's been an awesome week. Now it's time to talk about goals. I suspect I'm going to have about 1 million emails when I get back to work, so that's going to be fun, especially since I'm at least not spending the morning working. I am undecided if I'm going to be working in the afternoon. It all just depends on how I feel. And all that email asked and everything that I have going on with work, we'll see how much time I get to spend in here. I do plan on getting my rose pressed though, because this is just so close to being done. And at least at that point, I can say, I'm doing stuff in here. If I get a couple rows pressed, then I can just zoom them through the machine. And it's really only a handful of seams that are left. They are 99-inch seams, but it's only a couple seams. I also want to get a few more of the table runners done for my sister. Yeah, they're 45 minutes each, but if I do them in the same steps and batches, I feel like it's going to feel like it's less time, that whole assembly line thing. There's no way to really cut it down that much. But I think the worst part about it is finding the coordinating threads in my thread collection so that I can do the quilting on top to sew everything down. So I think that's just going to be the most time in all of this. And then there's the multiverse space quilt. I wanted to get it started this past week, but things got in the way, and I was okay with that. I do need to get that started, so I am going to be putting that as really priority numero uno because that is a Christmas present. I need to make sure that I can get on my long arm in time. I need to make sure that, everything is ready. And I have to do some filming with that because, like I said, I wanted to do this as a let's sew together, not necessarily together, but let's see how this quilt comes together video. It's got an awesome story behind it, and I'm looking forward to it. So that is definitely moving up on my priority list. And also, I do plan on going live this Saturday at 11 a.m. This is your official notice if you aren't signed up for any of the notifications. I do eventually need to figure out how to put in I'm planning on going live cards and everything, but I will be going live officially Saturday at 11 a.m. thereabouts. Don't know what I'm going to be sewing yet. Probably going to be some table runners. We'll see. Who knows? Anyway, that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you want, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. If you hit the little bell icon down there, it will also let you know when I publish new videos or when I go live, like, this coming Saturday. It doesn't cost anything and it really helps the channel grow. I hope you have a great rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.